Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome to the Fly With Us podcast. This podcast is bringing the art of conversation, self-love, self-care, mental health care and protection, life lessons, love lessons, and everything in between. Today's topic, we're going to talk about parenting and parenthood and give you some tips to make parenthood a little bit easier. I'm Lady Bounce.
And I am A Slate.
Before we begin, I want to make sure that I tell you where to find us. You can find us on SoundCloud, Fly With Us, Facebook, Fly With Us /LA, and the LA is Lady Bounce and A Slate. We now have an email address, so you can email us your questions, concerns, show topics, and it's flywithusla@gmail.com. Sweet. So if you follow us on Facebook, we've got 100 likes on our page now. Beautiful. We get about 40 shares a day for our self-care assignments. Self-care assignments are posted every day. The idea of the self-care assignment is that they are low cost to no cost effective ways to take care of yourself.
That's right.
You cannot pour from an empty cup. You must love yourself and take care of yourself before you can take care of somebody else. Now, with all that being said, parenting and parenthood. Now, Slate, you have 4 sons.
I have 4 sons.
Four sons. You have teenagers.
And adult children.
And
adult children.
Adult children and teenagers. And you have the blessing of being a grandmother well.
Yeah, a grandmother. I'm a grandmother.
A grandmother on a grand scale. Not just my children have children, but a grandmother.
That means I did something good. I did something right. So I get another shot.
You absolutely did it right.
So
now,
and I got 5 grandkids. Yeah.
5 grandkids. Now my kids are younger, but not that much younger. They're 19 and 15. So I got 2. I'm not looking forward to being a grandmother at all. In fact, I have told my children in non-explicit terms, don't make me a grandma.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Because there are times where as a parent where I don't think I got it right. So I don't want to mess up no grandkids, because sometimes I wonder.
No, I'm thankful to be a grandma, because being a grandmother, I'm a GG. I don't like that grandmother.
Yeah, I don't, and that's the other thing. Like, what am I gonna be called?
I
because
like it, but
I'm way too cute and too fly.
Okay, so you gotta be a GG
to be somebody's grandma. Okay,
yeah, so I'm a GG, but I enjoy it. I enjoy it because it's like I got another shot. I know I'm definitely parenting different with the grandbabies, than I was. Because with my kids, I was just trying to hurry up and get the lessons in there. You trying to be the disciplinarian and you want to be all these things. You got to do it this way. You got to do it that way. And with my grandchildren, I get to enjoy them a little more. So it's kind of bittersweet, because I wish I would have been that way with my kids coming up.
I feel like that a lot, because because I work with kids. I see how I don't want my kids to be. And so sometimes as a parent, I'm a little bit harder on my kids, a little bit harsher, a little sterner. And so I don't get to have as much fun sometimes, because I don't want them to be like some of the things that I see on a daily basis. And I get to see, I won't say bad parenting, but I'll say maybe clueless parenting or misunderstood parenting.
A parenting style different from yours.
Right, a parenting style very different from my own, very different from my own upbringing with my parents and my grandparents.
Yeah.
I didn't have 2 sets of grandparents. My father's parents passed away well before I was born. So having 1 set of grandparents, I didn't get like the hard and the soft, if you will. Like, I didn't get the balance. I got my mom and my dad, and then my mom's parents, which of course, my mom's parenting style was a direct reflection of the parenting she got from my grandma and grandpa.
Okay.
Whereas my dad had a different style of parenting. Not necessarily bad, just different, from my mom's. So I did, from my parents, I got a really good balance of life lessons and world lessons and how to be and how not to be. But sometimes,
yeah. So that's one of the issues. That's one of the issues today is the difference in parenting styles, and we was talking about that a little bit earlier about how, like, for example, you had your mom and dad, and then you had your grandparents. I grew up with my grandparents and grandma. You know, my grandma ruled with an ironclad fist.
Right.
Left-handed, kept a pistol in her purse, the real live Medea, and her name was Grace. So she, the fact that I'm even still sitting here shows a lot of grace.
A lot of grace.
I was a heavy walk. But yeah, so I got that. Whereas my sons only experienced my mother, their other grandmother and grandfather, where the grandfather was not around and the grandmother had already passed on, right, as well as my father had already passed on. So they didn't get grandma, granddaddy kind of parenting, because my mom was, well, that would have been great, but my mom parenting style was different from my grandparents. So we got to take all that into consideration when you're looking at those kids and at school, and they're showing some of those behaviors because the parenting styles are different.
Very different. Like, and for me, my grandmother's mother was she was a very, very different. She was very fair skinned. She pretty much looked white. She could have passed for white on a good day. Mama Lou did not play. Mama Lou ran a bootleg joint out of her house. We saw, and this is so bad, Mama Lou, please forgive me. We saw Mama Lou probably when I was about 9 or 10. She shot this man.
Okay.
Over a card game. But check this out.
My
Mama Lou was so that deal in the hood. That man didn't go to the hospital. Nobody called 911. They looked at him and was
so that would have been like my grandma Grace.
Yeah, girl, they looked at him and was like, that's what you get.
She shot a man for he cut my Aunt Lorraine in the face. She still wears that scar in his face, and I'm in her face, and I'm sure that man still probably walking around with some bullet fragment in it from my grandma.
See what I mean? So and literally he got up and he limped away. In fact, he apologized and was like, Mama Lou, I'm sorry, because he got blood on her floor. So I was like, okay. But now with that, as a grandmother, as a great grandmother, sweetest woman you ever want to meet, bake your cookies, sit on her lap. You know, like the meme on Facebook where they be like, a lot of kids don't snap beans with grandma no more, and it shows.
Oh, I missed that with my grandma.
She was the bean snapping grandma. But come nighttime, Mama Lou was a whole different person.
See, I know for me with my maternal grandmother, this is the woman who we going to church every Sunday. We're going to church every Sunday. When she's cooking breakfast at 5 a.m, shades are being raised as soon as the sun comes up. She's not only cooking breakfast and homemade biscuits. You know, she's making homemade biscuits. And no matter what she had, be it mackerel patty with rice and eggs, if we didn't have the other stuff, that's what she's cooking, and cooking dinner at the same time. So that when we get out of church or when we get out of school, we already got
dinner's
something
already done.
And then she just gonna eat a bowl of cornflakes and some grapefruit. There ain't gonna be no cussing in her house. There ain't gonna be no smoking in her house, whether you grown or not. These are things that she instilled in us. You know, and with my other grandma Grace, no matter how tough she was, at the same time, she was the lady that you supposed to cross your legs. And our hair is supposed to be done, combed. Our clothes supposed to be pressed, and we supposed to look like ladies. And don't forget to wear your slip. Like ladies. Oh, that was my grandmother. That slip. Oh my. Don't forget to wear your slip. Don't have your arms out. You can't show too much skin. You got to be modest. All these things were things that we learned. But then here we're both speaking of grandmothers. Some of the issues I see today, and even in my own home, were the absence of male representation. Yes. My grandfather wasn't always he was always present, but he was always tough, and there was some issues there. But my kid's father passed away in 2011, so he left them very early, right? And that was difficult in bringing up boys. So sometimes we see in behaviors with our kids because they don't, especially boys, they don't know what it looks like to be a man or what that should entail. Do you see that issue at all?
I see that a lot. for young men who don't have fathers, it's very difficult. But then I'm a little bit spoiled in my viewpoint, because my dad's mom died when he was in the 8th grade. His dad was never around. So my dad grew up without a mother and a father, and he was a great dad. Now, that's not to say that he didn't make some missteps,
right,
or some things that I look back on and go, I wish he could have done this differently or done that differently. And even now in my adult life, when it comes to my kids, the grandkids, and all my siblings, to think of things that he could have, would have, should have.
Yeah.
But for the most part, my dad was a great dad. So how did he learn to be a great dad having not had a dad? How does that happen? When I look at my own husband, who didn't have his dad growing up. His dad was alive, but he lived in a whole nother state, so he wasn't around. My husband is an excellent father. So how do you become a great dad if you didn't have an example? You know,
do you create? Do I wonder if certain parents create what they didn't have, what they always wanted? Is that what they give to the kids? And in saying that, I have to consider my own parenting style.
Right.
The way that I was brought up, I was like, oh, I'm not gonna this is not gonna happen when I become a mother. I'm not gonna do this, I'm not gonna do that. And then in hindsight now, for example, I was at the job center the other day, working to get my middle son a summer job. My 2 youngest sons were there to apply for a summer job. And my son is mouthing. Why does he have to be here? Why does he have to work a regular this job? Why does he have to sign up for this? He can do it on his own. Going. I'm like, because you haven't shown me that you're looking for a job. You have to have a source of income. You have to be self-sufficient. These are things that you have to do. And there's a woman sitting there at the counter, and I refer to her as Miss Z, and she said, when we were finished, he wasn't finished talking. She couldn't take it anymore. She said, "Who are you?
Yes.
Who are you speaking to your mother this way in front of me?" That eldership was placed right out there in front of him.
Right.
Regardless to how he and I speak. Whereas in my grandparents' house, you're not gonna be able to converse with the adult. That's not gonna happen. With my mother, I was able to converse. So this is one of the things. You can talk. But to her, it was seen as disrespect, which and it was disrespectful. And that was there. So I have to just kind of look at parenting styles, and the difference between. It's like a generational gap here.
It is
with the kids, and it's some of the things that I think I could do without that my mother did. Like, I think the old way is tried and true,
right?
But there's some tweaking to be done based on this new generation. This generation's of we know what to do, we have all the answers, and clearly what happened worked for you is not going to work for us. Like, even going to get a job because he believes I can be an entrepreneur. I can be self-sufficient without working a 9 to 5. I can do it different, and we can do it better. So, you know.
So then the thing becomes is in everything you have to have balance.
Yeah.
So as parents, we try to find this balance of wanting to have these assertive, independent children who also understand authority and the hierarchy of authority.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it's different from the way that we were raised versus how we do our own children. Because in my household with my parents and my siblings, you know, we always had this rule: we could talk about anything, as long as it's done respectfully and with tact.
That's the thing right there. I think that's what's lacking: respect, tact.
Yes,
these things.
Because even growing up, I could talk to my parents about sex, but you were not going to use the gut bucket vulgar language that you do when you talking to your little friends,
right?
Because, like, as Mama was always quick to remind us, I ain't one of your little friends. These kids nowadays are kind of missing that piece where they, in my Rihanna voice, they get how they live. this is what they see, and this is what they think when it comes to addressing us. And as parents, in some ways, I think in our effort to take care of their self-esteem and their self-worth and make them feel important, we let them get that off. Where we shouldn't.
I agree.
Let them get it off.
I agree. And then you have to turn around, like I had to do just today. I had to grab this child. Look, you're gonna just flat out stop talking to me.
Right.
That's what you're gonna do. I'm gonna tell you this. This is what you're gonna do, and that's how it's gonna work. Like, and then we move forward from there. I mean, because some of the things the one thing that we have to keep in there from the old school is that respect, and you have to remember your position. It is our obligation as parents,
absolutely,
to show them and to give them that recipe, per se. That even if we didn't earn it, we still had to learn, and those things have to be gifted to these children, because even though they think they know better, they don't. My aunt used to always tell me, I don't care how old you get, I done been where you trying to go.
Sure enough.
See, and they don't even know where they going, but we do. And because we do, we have to find the creative way to speak their language.
Yes.
To communicate with them in a way that they understand, you know, and make sure at all times that we not sacrificing our respect. And I'll even say our honor, because we deserve to be respected. We worked, we paid a price to get to where we are, to be in the position that we're in.
And I know for me, and it is, you know, always in the back of my mind, it's all about me. when I think about the things that I have sacrificed, the things that I have given up, the things that I have gone without in my effort to provide my children with not only material things that I didn't have, but those non-material things, those ethics, those values, those things that I didn't have. It's hard to maintain that whole balance of, yes, you have a voice, yes, you have a right to speak, but at the same time, look here, what you're not gonna do is and then to do it without being physically violent, because you know, and I know from working with the kids that we work with, when you are physically violent with your children, that's not teaching them anything. It doesn't teach them
violence.
And then when they grow up and they become violent
men,
and then everybody's going, who raised you? Where did you learn that at? Where did you get that from? Because even the things that we don't realize that our children are seeing and interpreting from what they see us do, they're picking it all up.
They watching.
They're watching everything.
And that was something different about old school parenting too. You wasn't about to sit down in front of no old folks, no grown folks. My daddy caught me one time. He had picked me up from my grandmother's. He caught me one time. He talking with his friends and what have you, and I'm sitting there literally just, I'm tuned in. I want to know. I want to be a part of this. And he turned around. He said, boom, you're not about to eat the words out of my mouth. Get out of here.
And you're like, well, wait.
And I'm like, I ain't eating the words. I'm just listening.
I need to know the rest of the story. Wait a minute, what happened? What you about to do?
I wanted to know, but he made sure. And in that, I thought, why he doing that? Do he think I'm too little? Do he think I can't, why he think I don't know what they talking about? No, it wasn't that he didn't think I didn't know what they were talking about. It was that I couldn't handle what they were talking about. It wasn't for me. I wasn't prepared. And I think sometimes, that those things I need to carry over, with my grandchildren too. Like that goes with that respect and what we know we got to give to them.
And I know for me, and in that same aspect, like my husband and I have had and will continue to have, as long as we're together, disagreements, arguments, you name it. One thing that we've never done is argue in front of our children. In some ways, beautiful. I think that's beautiful. I think it's great. Beautiful. But in other ways, I think I missed out on a chance to teach my children an important lesson about how to disagree without cussing, without name calling, without being just gut bucket ignorant with it. Because even though I'm mad at him or he's mad at me, when this is over and at the end of the day, that's still my husband. I'm still his wife. We're still going to be together. We still have to parent these children. So I think in some ways, by not arguing in front of them, it's great that they didn't get to see, mommy yelling at daddy or daddy yelling at mommy. They also missed a great lesson though. I
kind of disagree with you there on them missing that great lesson, because again, we're gonna go back to them watching, right?
Right.
Even though y'all didn't show them or let them hear arguing, they know when you mad at each other.
Oh yeah,
they knew when y'all was beefing. They we don't give kids the credit that they sometimes deserve. They know, and they seen. I truly believe that kids can see when we having a disagreement or there's a little.
My daughter would always go, "How come you and daddy not talking?"
They can see that, and then they were able to still
that?
see how y'all handled that and how you maneuver through that. You maneuver through it without yelling, without calling each other out your name, without being disrespectful. When they get mad at each other and they have a disagreement, they just stop talking for a minute till they can work it out. They figure it out some kind of way,
So I mean, and in some ways, I think that is very good that like, that they have seen. Wait a minute, mommy talks a lot.
Now she ain't talking.
Mommy ain't said nothing about 3 or 4 days. Something is not right. But also with that, I think I've missed out on a chance to teach them how to argue, how to fight fair.
I get what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying? Like, like how to fight fair, how to get your point across and disagree and still be loving at the end of the day. Now, my kids don't fight with each other. They just kind of like, because they're so different in how they act and are different in ages, they don't really hang out too much. One's a boy, one's a girl. They got their own, lives. So they don't fight and argue as kids, and that's great. But I often wonder when I turn them loose,
that's what I was
on the
say.
real
Have
world.
you had the opportunity to parent that lesson outside of the home?
No, because even at school with their friends, I don't see or hear them, like, they don't get into conflicts with their friends.
That could be a beautiful thing. That's a reflection of the parenting that they're exposed to. Yeah. That's not their thing. Maybe they just not the argumentative debating one.
I know my son is going to be, he's very much like me, where like when he gets upset, he'll bottle up, he won't say nothing. And then like 3-4 months down the line, he's like, you remember that one day on March 1st, 1992 when you had said,
the process.
And I'm like, dude, that was like 20 years ago. Like he's gonna be like that, very calm, very chill. Like, I don't like conflict. I don't like to argue. And even if me and my husband are arguing or beefing, and I tell myself, forget him, I'm not talking to him, it's always me that talks first.
See, and
like, every time.
That's just beautiful, because you teaching them a human way of responding to again, disagreement and quarrel versus animals. We see 2 dogs looking at each other. The first thing they do is they go into war. And the reason why I use animals in this situation is because so often we say raising kids, raising children. We say that so loosely, but we know better. We raise animals on a farm.
Yes.
You rear children.
Yes.
At home, at school, wherever your spiritual place of refuge, you're rearing children. You're rearing and steering the whole way, and it's a lifelong journey. We got to travel this course. So I think it's beautiful that they're not arguing, that they're not fighting, that they're not doing that.
And they're not
found a way to channel that.
So that's definitely good in that case. So like, I jotted down some notes because I always do, and so I jotted down: a good parent strive to make decisions in the best interest of the child. A good parent doesn't have to be perfect. If you are out there thinking that you are wrong all the time, you have to be perfect, please stop that.
Right.
That is detrimental to your mental state. It is detrimental to the mental state of your children. No one is perfect. Your child is not perfect. If you keep these things in mind, it's important when we set our expectations.
Right. You gotta remember, we are individuals, even the child.
Right. So we should set high expectations for ourselves first, as parents, as people, as adults, and for our children second. We serve as role models.
First, love yourself.
First, love yourself. We serve as role models. And it's okay if they see you get it, quote unquote, wrong.
Right.
There's the lesson to be learned in getting it wrong.
Yep. Take a deep breath. You got a whole new moment to do it again.
Got a whole new moment. And don't be afraid to apologize. I see so many adults in general And especially, when it comes to kids, if you wrong your child and you know you're wrong, it's okay to say, hey, you know what, Slay, I yelled at you yesterday. And I apologize that I yelled at you.
Right.
But this is what I was trying to get you to understand.
Yes.
This is the lesson that I was trying to get you to get.
Yeah, make those amends like immediately if you can. Make those amends because, again, holding that up, we don't want them to be going down the line 5-6 years holding all this anger from their childhood and they can't move forward because of what happened in that moment.
Exactly. When I think about stuff like that, I think about Eminem's song that he wrote about his mom. And the name of the song was called Sorry Mama. Okay. And in the song he talks about all of these things that his mother did during his childhood that she didn't realize. He saw, he heard, he understood.
Right.
Because so many times we think we do things, we say things, and kids don't understand because these dumb kids, they don't know. But so that song was a whole ode to all of the things that she had done. And in the song, this is early in his career, in the song he kills her. He talks about
that to his baby mama too.
yeah, he's killed some of everybody. But in the song,
that's the beauty of writing and creating. Okay?
Right. So in the song, he talks about growing up and wanting to kill her for the things that she did to him. And then he also says in the song, "You never said sorry." And that was powerful. So when my son was younger, I could always tell when I made him mad or I upset him or hurt him in some way because he had that CD and then he had that song on repeat. so without him saying to me, "Mom, you have upset me," or "You have hurt me in some way," I hear this song blaring from his room, and we
got to learn to speak their language, and they ours,
right? And without having a long conversation, because he is a boy and he's very in touch with the whole "don't touch me, don't hug me, don't talk to me, don't bring it up."
I got them in my house.
Yeah,
I got them in my house.
I just went in his room and I gave him a hug.
Yes,
I said nothing. I gave him a hug until he melted.
Yes,
and when he melted, he began to cry.
Yes.
And I'm sitting here and I'm going, I got this sobbing boy in my arms. What do I say?
That was, and that is an apology. And that's one of the beautiful things about parenting too. That hug, sometimes we ain't got to say nothing.
Right. And
a mother's love, a father's love is powerful enough in itself.
So, during that hug and during those tears, as I'm thinking, because I didn't know what to do. I'm like, I'm a girl.
And plus, not that you don't know what to do. You probably don't even know what you did wrong.
I didn't.
See, sometimes their interpretation of what we're doing can be taken. So keep that line of communication open.
So I simply told him, I'm sorry, and I love you. And with that, he said, I'm sorry too.
Ooh.
So now I'm thinking,
come on.
Well, what are you sorry for? And so I asked him, well, what are you sorry for? He said, I'm sorry that I disappointed you and made you upset with me to the point where you upset me and you hurt me in return. And I was like, wow.
Yeah, that hug, okay?
I mean, and that was powerful.
Like, people don't get how a lot of us are so busy trying to be that perfect parent that we miss the opportunity to just be the mother or be the father and just extend that love that is there. I mean, we're going to make mistakes. It's going to be bumps along the road. It's going to be some miscommunication.
Absolutely.
When they was doing their baby talk and goo goo gaga and all that, we understood the language. We knew hungry, so we got to still pay attention and respond to that. What else we got here?
We got the Mindfulness Minute. You already know.
Mindfulness Minute.
So
some M&M Mindfulness Minute.
So our Mindfulness Minute, I'm going to let you read this.
All right. Oh, yes. So we're going to, for our Mindfulness Minute, I think this is beautiful. This is powerful. Embracing family traditions. I know we talked a little bit about old school versus new school, but here's something a little new school we can do. Most families have rituals unique to their family that they celebrate year after year. If your family is lacking in traditions, go ahead and create some. They don't have to be extravagant or elaborate. Brainstorm with your children and spouse about making a new family tradition. Perhaps something wonderful and spontaneous occurred as you were preparing to leave for summer vacation, the night before Thanksgiving, the afternoon of the first snowfall, or on the way to the pumpkin patch. Or maybe you had a pillow fight that ended with everyone making popcorn and s'mores and watching old movies in their pajamas. If it still evokes powerful memories for all of you, make it a tradition. Other ideas might include an annual family cleaning day. I love those days.
Spring cleaning, wash the baseboards, wash the walls, the windows.
When everyone pitches in to tackle the mess in the garage, basement, or attic. Ours was on Saturday mornings.
Yes, ma'am.
Listening to Betty Wright, No Pain, No Gain.
Stop it.
Or you can have an annual family fun day. Let a child choose what the family does for the day, even if it's bug hunting. Or an annual plant a garden day. Embrace family traditions.
So just a note on the family traditions. In my family, one of the traditions we had a lot of children in my family. There's 9 of us all together. And there's a yours, mine, and our story. So when it came to birthdays, there were no extravagant birthdays to Chuck E. Cheese, trips to Dave and Buster's, you name it, those things were not there. The tradition we had, everybody gets a cake.
Everybody gets a cake.
Everybody gets a cake.
I know.
You get to pick out the kind of cake you want. You got to pick out the colors, and most of the time, mom and dad knows our favorite colors. So it was your cake.
Yeah.
And on top of everybody getting their own cake, nobody is allowed to eat your name. The birthday cake said, "Happy birthday, Tommy." Everybody got a piece of cake. Nobody ate Tommy's name but Tommy.
That's right. I know in our family, especially my kid's father started this. When it was one of our kids' birthdays, one of the boys' birthday, it was everybody's birthday.
Yes.
So because nobody felt left out. So like say for example, they wouldn't all get a cake, but everybody would get a gift on that birthday. So we never did like birthday parties. Yeah. We had enough kids. We had a birthday party. Man, so when it's one kid's birthday, it's everybody's birthday, and I still keep that going. I like that, and something else that I do personally, like if I have a friend that's having a baby and I go to her baby shower and she already has a kid, I get a gift for the other baby too. Right, so they don't feel left out. Like here's your big brother gift, here's your big sister gift. I love it. You know, if I'm going to the baby shower and I'm going to get a gift for the new baby, then the other sibling, I get them something too. And it doesn't have to be anything major. You know, it could be a coloring book and some crayons. Just, hey, I'm thinking about you too. Because a lot of times the sibling that's already here kind of feels left out. Right. When the new baby comes. Right, exactly. So that's acknowledging we know you still here. We know you still here. Big brother, big sister, we going to get you a little something. So your self-care assignment for this episode. You ready for this? Let's hear it. I love this idea. I want you all to create a family mission statement. Let's get it. Family life can be fulfilling and wonderful, but it can also bring some stress into your life. To bring your family together with a common goal and give everyone a feeling of purpose and belonging, all you need is a pen and some paper. And if you're lucky, a dry erase board and some markers. Come on. Gather everyone together and explain that you're going to create a mission statement, a written declaration that expresses the intentions, purpose, and priorities of the family. Oh, yeah. Ask each person. This is your how-to. You're going to ask each person to suggest words or to describe your family. What kind of behavior is acceptable and unacceptable? What are your family's goals? Put some of your ideas in a sentence. For example, in the Webb family, we treat each other with respect, and they respect everyone's privacy in the family. Love it. Write down as many sentences as you need to convey the thoughts represented during your brainstorming session. Revise your words down to the bare minimum. Print out the mission statement. Have everyone sign it, date it, and post it in prominent places where it won't be forgotten. That mirror in the bathroom. And don't forget to revise it as needed. As things become part of your mantra and your family mission statement, you may not need those things anymore. If you think about any company, any school, it's big business in making your family bonds tight and loving. And they all have a mission statement. They all do. One thing that is required when you make your charter
to the state to have your school be
your
open.
Business plan. You have to have a mission statement.
You have to have a mission statement. So why not have one for your family?
Yes.
Your family is more important than any business. I was going to say just that's important, but no, it's more important than anything else that you do, because from morning to night, beginning to end, all that you ever have is family. At the end of the day, beauty fades, money fades, cars get wrecked. All you have is family. So, I gotta come. I had to come with the brain science around being a parent, because you have to. Everything is done with the brain in mind. So I'm gonna give you 10 tips, just 10 simple things you can do that are gonna be effective for your parenting skills, keeping the brains of you and your children in mind.
Come on, guys.
So the first thing I want you to do is model. Walk the walk. Don't just tell your child what to do, but show them.
Show them better than you.
Humans are special in part because we learn by imitation. We are programmed to copy others' actions, to understand them, and to incorporate them into our own. Children in particular watch everything their parents do carefully. So be the person you want your child to be. Respect your child. Show them positive behavior and attitudes. Have empathy towards your child's emotions, and your child will follow suit. So many times when it comes to school and watching how children deal with conflict, it is because of the things that they see parents do. If you are exposing your child to the Real Housewives of whatever and all of these other reality shows on TV, if you look at those,
real life for real.
It is not real life, and that's not how you handle conflict. You cannot flip a table over on somebody. You cannot throw a drink in somebody's face because they made you mad. Show enough catch a case. I want you to be loving. Show your love. There's no such thing as over loving your child.
Oh, I like that.
Love does not spoil children.
That's one
Material
of the biggest
things spoil children. Love never will. Give only what you choose in the name of love. Things like material indulgence, leniency, low expectations, and overprotection can sometimes be detrimental when dealing with children. But when these things are given in the place of real love, that's when you'll have a spoiled child on your hands. Loving your child can be as simple as giving them hugs, spending time with them, and listening to their issues seriously. Showing these acts of love can trigger the release of feel-good hormones such as oxytocin, opioids, and prolactin.
Drug-free kids. Give them love. Give them love.
Give them love. These neurochemicals can bring us a deep sense of calm, emotional warmth, and contentment. And from these, your child will develop resilience, and not to mention a closer relationship with you. Boom. Be positive. Here's another brain tip for you. Babies are born with about 100 billion brain cells, also called neurons, with relatively little connections. These connections create our thoughts, drive our actions, and shape our personalities, and basically determine who they are. They are created, strengthened, and sculpted through the experiences across our lives. So give your child as many positive experiences as possible, and they will have the ability to experience positive experience themselves, as well as offer them to others. What? So here's some ways to give your kids positive experience on a daily basis. These don't cost you any money. I always incorporate that a lot. No cost to low cost. Okay. Sing a silly song.
All right, and make it up.
Have a tickle marathon. Go to the park. Laugh with your child. Ride through an emotional tantrum with your child. Solve a problem together with a positive attitude. Not only do these positive experiences create good connections in your child's brain, they also form the memories that your child will carry for life.
Lifelines and legacies.
When it comes to discipline, and this is the hardest thing, and it even says it in this article, it says it seems hard to remain positive, but it is possible to practice positive discipline and avoid punitive measures. Being a good parent means you need to teach your child the moral in what is right and what is wrong. Setting limits and being consistent are the keys to good discipline. Be kind and firm. Enforcing in those rules, focus on the reason behind the child's behavior and make it an opportunity to learn for the future rather than punish for the past. What?
The past, I be like,
Be a safe haven. This is number 4. Let your child know that you will always be there for them by being responsive to their signals and sensitive to their needs. Support and accept your children as an individual. Be a warm, safe haven for your child to explore. Children who are raised by parents who are consistently responsive tend to have better emotional development, social development, and mental health outcomes.
these are powerful.
They are. Communicating and integrating. This is a big one. Most of us know the importance of communication. Talk to your child, but also listen to them. Listen to them
and
carefully.
Listening to them, you can learn their language.
Absolutely. Keeping an open line of communication, you're going to have a better relationship with your child, and your child is going to come to you when there's a problem. So many times kids don't come to their parents with their problems because they don't feel like they'll be listened to, and that's why they go to other people. That's why they seek out, being in gangs or in other negative things, because they're looking for some kind of love and open lines of being accepted that they don't get at home, which is really, really important. So, number 6 is reflecting. This is so key. This is what we were talking about before we started today. Most of us want to parent differently from our parents. Even those who had a happy childhood may want to change some aspects of how they were brought up. But very often, when we open our mouths, we speak just like our parents.
That's wisdom.
Yes. Reflecting on our own childhood is a step toward understanding why we parent the way we do. Make a note of things that you would like to change and how you do it differently in a real scenario. Try to be mindful and change your behavior the next time those issues come up. Don't give up. If at first you don't succeed, it takes practice, lots of practice. Number 7, pay attention to your own well-being. Oftentimes, things such as your own health or the health of your marriage are kept on the back burner when a child is born. If you don't pay attention to them, they will become bigger problems down the road. Take good care of yourself physically and mentally. Take time to strengthen your relationship with your spouse. If these 2 areas fail, your child will suffer too.
Exactly.
Hence the whole purpose of our first Love Yourself podcast is that we have both learned that as parents, when trying to be good parents, you do put yourself on the back burner. You do forget those things that make you happy because, I got to be a mom. I got to be a mom. I got to be a mom.
Conflict.
Or I got to be a wife and a mom. But you're a person before you were a wife, before you were a mom.
Exactly.
Number 8, and this is going to make some people mad. I'm telling you now. No spanking.
I ain't with it.
Now listen here. No doubt, to some parents, spanking can bring about short-term compliance, which sometimes is a much-needed relief for parents. However, this method doesn't teach the child right from wrong. It only teaches the child to fear external consequences. The child is then motivated to avoid getting caught instead.
Well, they say violence teaches violence, but sometimes sometimes you gotta snatch them up. This is my 16-year-old.
I would never ever negate, a well-placed throat punch. Okay. However, spanking your child is modeling to your children that he or she can resolve issues with violence. Children who are spanked, smacked, or hit are more prone to fighting with other children. They are more likely to become bullies and to use verbal or physical aggression to solve disputes. Later in life, they are also more likely to result in delinquency, antisocial, and or criminal behavior, worse parent-child relationships, mental health issues, and domestic violence victims or abusers. There are a variety of better alternatives to discipline that have been proven to be more effective, such as using positive discipline and positive reinforcement, which we mentioned earlier. Number 9, proper perspective. What is your goal in raising a child? If you are like most parents, you want your child to do well in school, be productive, be responsible and independent, enjoy meaningful relationships with you and others, be caring and compassionate, and have a happy, healthy, fulfilling life. But how much time do you spend working on those goals? If you are like most parents, you spend most of the time just trying to get through the day. Oh, Lord. As authors Siegel and Bryan point out in their books, The Whole Brain Child, instead of helping your child thrive, you spend most of the time just trying to survive. To not let the survival mode dominate your life, next time you feel angry or frustrated, take a step back.
Yeah, if we can learn to parent just with unconditional love, and lead in that way instead of just placing conditions and being conditioned to be cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Would be cool.
Think about what anger and frustration will do for you or your child. Instead, find ways to turn every negative experience into a learning opportunity for him or for her.
Yes.
Even epic tantrums can be turned into invaluable brain sculpting moments. Doing these will not only help you keep a healthy perspective, but you are also working on one of your primary goals in parenting, and it builds a good relationship with your child. And number 10, take a shortcut. By shortcuts, we don't mean shortchanging your child. What we mean is take advantage of what is already known by scientists. Parenting is one of the most researched fields in psychology. Many parenting practices or traditions have been scientifically researched, verified, refined, or refuted. For good scientific parenting skills and information, there's a great parenting website called ParentingScience.com. I love this website. I have used it a lot. There's a book you can buy, but you don't have to buy the book. But it is called The Science of Parenting. There really is a science to this. Using scientific knowledge is by no means a one-size-fits-all strategy. That means just because you read it in a book does not mean it's going to work for your little Timmy. Right. You might have to try something else. Every child is different. You can and should adjust your parenting style accordingly. For example, instead of spanking, there are better alternatives. Redirection, reasoning, removing privileges, a time in, a time out. You can choose the non-punitive discipline method that works best for your child. Of course, you can always choose to use traditional philosophies of spanking and hollering and yelling, and you may still get the same outcome, but it would only be temporary. Why risk the damages of the subpar parenting practices that may create while there are so many better, well-researched ones? Taking these shortcuts may require more work on your part in the short time, but can save you lots of time and agony in the long run. So as a parent, you don't have to be perfect.
No.
It's okay to get it wrong. Every day is a new day to try it again. Try something different.
And it's a process. Trust the process and just know you grow together, Just keep growing, just keep living, keep loving, keep loving, keep loving. And if you gotta whoop that child, you snatch them up.
I say,
put the fear of God in them.
Parent with the new,
yeah,
but respect the old.
Exactly. I love that. That's perfect.
There are some methods that are old school, that are tried and true for a reason. Science tells us there are things that are great, and that is for a reason as well.
Find what works for you.
Absolutely.
Find what works for you and your family. Don't get caught up in that there's a perfect model. When we have our babies, we didn't get a book for a reason. There is no one manual that we can refer to.
And even if there was a book, the book could never account for the fact that when you make a child is 50-50 DNA from two different people who come from two different lineages. And you have to mesh all that together somehow. We have 2 children. My son is very much like me, thinks like me, acts like me, and so sometimes we don't get along. My daughter is very much like my husband, and because of that, we sometimes don't get along because she has the parts of my husband that don't gel well.
You said it somewhere in your notes, either in your notes or in the brain science moment, that we have to just remember that each child is different.
Yes.
They're an individual, and your parenting style may differ. Just keep on loving this child and teaching the lessons as you learn them, as you've experienced them. Teach the lessons. Don't be so hard on yourself. Don't be too hard on that child, and let's keep always remembering to stay fly. First, love yourself before you even attempt to love somebody else.
Stay fly.
So, you can tune in. This will be posted on our Facebook page and
SoundCloud. And now we are now on YouTube. We have joined a YouTube sensation. And real quick before we end this podcast, one of my we did receive some feedback, and she wanted to know, why don't we look at the camera? And so this is what I told her.
So this is for her. We are looking at the camera.
But one of the reasons why we purposely don't look at the camera.
We're talking to one another right now.
I want you, as the listener, to feel like you walked in on a conversation of two friends who look like you, who sound like you, who struggle like you. If I wanted you to watch a TV show, we would have made it a TV show.
Exactly. And I grew up, I was reared in a way when you're talking to someone, you look them in your face.
Absolutely.
And you speak and you engage in that way. So this is one of the reasons why we're not looking at the camera.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and if you have any questions, comments, podcast suggestions, some things you want to talk about, you can email us at
flywithusla@gmail.com, or hit us up on Facebook, flywithus/LA, or just search Fly With Us Podcast on Facebook.
Awesome. And if you just want to send out some support and help people come on and board this flight, hashtag fly with us.
Hashtag fly with us. First, love yourself. We'll see you next week. Take care.
Peace out.